Hello. Okay, okay. I'm doing that now. Comrade Ogumbi, your mic should be unmuted now. Hello? I have asked you to unmute now. Just check your screen. You will see my request for you to just tap on your mic. Yes, check your screen now.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gary. And sorry
You're welcome,
for the
sir.
itches. Good afternoon, everyone. We apologize a little
Mr. Gary, if you can hear me, we can't hear Mr. Ogungwe or anyone. There's no sound at all. No audio.
You are the one muting.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. If you can hear me, please kindly respond yes. And I want to apologize for the technical challenge that we had earlier. And I think we have been able to overcome that now. Very quickly, we will start right away. I want to please confirm if you hear me. Can you please hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir? Can our facilitator hear me?
I'm with you here, sir.
All right. Can you please hear me now, sir? A facilitator, sir. I understand you have been unmuted. Okay.
Yeah, now I can confirm that I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Can you? All right. I hope your video is also working, sir.
Yes, it is. I'm sure you can see me.
Hello, sir. Is your video working?
My video is on. My camera is on. So
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, yes, I think we can. All right. Good. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think we need to start right away. Good afternoon, everyone. And again, I want to apologize for these issues that we've just had. And I believe we've been able to overcome that. And I want to especially welcome our facilitator tonight and thank you, this afternoon, and thank you for the patience. Very quickly, without wasting much time, I would like to quickly introduce our facilitator so that we can start. My name is Ogumui Emmanuel. The chairman, Kaduna State branch of CIPM, Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. And for some of us who are probably new on this platform, or who are not a member already, CIPM is the apex regulatory body of human resource practitioners in Nigeria, and it has been in existence for over 55 years and still counting. And we are in the business of human resource matters as far as Nigeria is concerned, the foremost institute in Nigeria. However, we will be doing a brief introduction of our facilitator this evening. And very quickly, I'm going to be introducing him. As a matter of fact, we are having a very important personality tonight, this afternoon, who is going to be sharing with us the topic for this event. However, I will be reading out a brief concerning our facilitator this afternoon. Very quickly, I'll be reading out a brief profile concerning our facilitator. Our facilitator by name is Ahmed Ladan Gubri, FCIPM, Fellow Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, And please kindly follow us. Mr. Ahmed Gubri is a highly skilled, dedicated, and licensed HR practitioner and corporate lawyer with over 30 years of hard-on experience in both the public and private sector. He holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in history, a Master of Business Administration, specializing in management, a Bachelor of Law, and Barrister at Law. He is a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. His journey with CIPM, that's Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, started in 1989 when he was admitted into the institute as an affiliate, from where he gradually rose through the grades to become a fellow in 2006. His service to CIPM over the years, spanning about 34 years of membership, include but not limited to the following. He has been the chairman, Professional Conduct and Ethics Committee of CIPM. He is Audit Committee chairman for CIPM. He's a member of the Board of Fellows of CIPM, elected council members, Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, member Governing Council of CIPM, member Board of Trustees, CIPM members, Multipurpose Cooperative Society, branch secretary and chairman of Kaduna State branch. Mr. Gubri has worked in the public and private sector for over 30 years, starting his career in the public service as a personnel industrial relation officer in 1985 with the Ajakuta Steel Company Limited, from where he moved to the private sector in 1990 as industrial relation manager and later company secretary, head HR at Cartoon and Agric Processors Limited. He joined Crystal Hope Nigeria Limited in 2001, where he rose to the position of managing director, CEO in 2013. After serving for 13 years, in his previous role as general manager, group head, HR, and group company secretary and legal advisor with the company. In 2018, he joined the Dangote Cement PLC group as a senior general manager and was designated as regional HR advisor and head organization development Pan-Africa. He was subsequently promoted group general manager and redesignated as strategic HR business partner for the commercial and Anglophone subsidiaries of Dangote Cement PLC, overseeing the 6 Anglophone countries of Ethiopia, Ghana, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Tanzania, Zambia. In these 2 roles, he had served as senior HR advisor at Dangote Cement Ethiopia PLC and senior HR advisor at Dangote Cement Zambia Limited, Zambia, respectively. Mr. Gubri is a former Honorable Commissioner for Commerce, Industry, and Cooperative and member of the Kwara State Executive Council, and had at various times served on the board of various companies, state and federal government parastatals and committees, either as a director or board members, acquiring extensive corporate and boardroom experience over time. Some of these include Chairman Kwara State Investment and Property Development Company Limited in Ilorin, Chairman Kwara State Industrial Trust Fund Limited in Ilorin, member National Labour Advisory Council, Federal Ministry of Labour, member Governing Board, National Bureau of Statistics, member National Steering Committee, Open Governance Partnership, Federal Ministry of Justice, Federal Government Tripartite Committee on the review of the minimum wage, member Governing Board, Kaduna State Water Corporation, Vice President, Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, Chairman, Small and Medium Scale Industry Committee of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Chairman, Legal Advisory Committee of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, member Governing Council of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Director Crystal Hope Kaduna, Director Woodcraft Industries Limited Kaduna, partner Gobiri and Co. Legal practitioners. He has the following professional certification and membership. He's a fellow of Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, a fellow of Nigeria Institute of Management, Chartered, member Nigeria Bar Association, member International Bar Association, and member Commonwealth Lawyers Association. I present to you this afternoon an authority in the profession we're about to discuss this afternoon. And it may interest all our participants this afternoon to note that our institute is about to change leadership at national level. And I'm glad to announce to this audience that we are having with us this afternoon Mr. Ahmed Ladan Gobiri, who is standing in for the election, forthcoming election, as the president of our great institute. So tonight we have, this afternoon we have a great personality who, out of his busy schedule, will be speaking to us on a very strategic topic: tomorrow HR profession today, and today HR profession tomorrow. Without much ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Ahmed Ladan Gobiri, FCIPM, FNIM, and HRPL to please take over and do justice to the reason for this afternoon webinar. Again, I congratulate.
Okay, good afternoon all. I can no longer hear Mr. Ogungui, but can somebody just confirm that they can hear me? If you just type a yes in the chat box, please. So that I can proceed. Can everyone hear me, please? If someone can just type a yes in the chat box. Okay, can I just call on somebody to just, by raise of his hand, just confirm that they can hear me? Bevel Clinton, can you help confirm you can see me? Or Kenneth today? Okay, and can you help confirm you can hear me? Just raise your hand. Okay, all right then. So I assume that everyone can hear me. Thank you very much. I know you cannot speak because you're all muted, but I see with a show of hands that people can hear me. Thank you all very much for that confirmation. My name once again is Ahmed Gobir, and I'd like to thank Mr. Ogungbuyi, the chairman of the Kaduna State branch of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, for that introduction. I'd also like to thank everyone who has joined the call on this day for joining us. Let me start by wishing us all a happy Workers' Day. We all work hard, often in very difficult conditions, to build our economy. We also try to build our organizations and our societies, working very hard. Yet, many of us face poor working conditions, inadequate compensation, and limited opportunities for growth and development. For me, as an aspirant of course, to the leadership of our institute, the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. I believe that it is our collective responsibility as HR professionals and personnel practitioners to prioritize the well-being and dignity of every worker. In doing this, we must advocate for safe and healthy work environment, fair compensation and benefits, social protection and job security, opportunities for training and development, work-life balance, and mental health support in our workplaces. I believe that as HR professionals and practitioners, we must recognize the value of every worker, from the shop floor steward on the factory floor to the office desk where the managing director or head of the organization sits, from the public sector to the private sector. We must work together to build a future where every worker is treated with respect, with dignity, and with compassion. I therefore charge everyone on this call that wherever it is we work, we must join hands with our employers, we must join hands with government, with civil society to create a better working world for all workers in Nigeria and beyond Nigeria. A Nigeria where workers are empowered, and a world where workers are empowered, protected, and valued. On this note, let me wish every one of us a happy Workers' Day. Thank you. I have been asked to speak on the topic tomorrow's HR profession today and today's HR profession tomorrow. Again, I would just like to ask that by a show of hands, you help me confirm that you can see my slides, please. Again, let me call those I can see. Kenneth today, can you confirm that you see my slides, please? Okay, thank you very much. Zakaria, can you confirm that you see my slide? And Zainab, can you just, by a raise of your hand, confirm that you can see my slide? Just raise your hand. I know you can speak. Can you see my slide on the screen? Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Zainab. All right, thanks. So, we will be discussing, like I said, tomorrow's HR profession today and today's HR profession tomorrow. I have tried to outline our discussion around, of course, an introduction, and then taking a look at the current landscape of HR in Nigeria. What are the emerging trends that are shaping tomorrow's HR? What are the future skills that people in the HR profession will require? And then that role transformation that is happening to people in the HR space, that is turning them, of course, into HR business partners. How do we leverage technology in HR? And what is the future of work saying to us as far as remote work and flexible workforce is concerned? What are those ethical considerations that we should be looking at in HR? And then we will draw our conclusion, after which we will take questions. I will ask that you please indulge me as I try to rush through my slides because I'm billed to be speaking at another engagement as from 4 p.m. As an introduction, we have tried here to say that HR professionals are now evolving in response to changing trends, technology, and workforce dynamics. And part of this evolution of the role of the HR professional involves transiting or transforming into becoming strategic business partners. From our traditional roles as administrators, Businesses, employers, and organizations now see us as strategic business partners. We have managed to not only get a seat on the table for ourselves, in a lot of places, we have become the table now where people come to sit, at least to discuss strategy. Part of the evolution of the role is also the fact that we now take and support data-driven decision-making because of the rise of technology. We leverage data to be able to take informed decisions around talent acquisition, around performance management, around employee engagement, and of course, in workforce planning. As HR professionals, we are focusing more now on enhancing employee experience and increasing employee engagement in the workplace. No longer can we, as HR professionals and people who are strategic partners to leaders, ignore employees in the workplace. We must constantly engage to understand the needs of the employees and to understand that their needs and the work they do are strategically aligned to the objectives of the organizations that we work for, whether it is in the public sector or in the private sector. The next, of course, is remote work and flexible work arrangements. Now, the proliferation of remote work and flexible work arrangements has transformed how, as HR professionals now, we now manage and support the workforce. If we were an organization where everybody used to work on site before, now we now have situations where people work from home. So as HR professionals, we have to constantly think about how do we manage those people who do not work on site and who are working from home to be sure that they're actually working for the business or for the organization and they are focused on delivering on their tasks for the organization. The next is talent management and development. We play a critical role in attracting and retaining, and of course, developing talent in a very competitive market. Then we have DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which as HR professionals, we are expected to champion, in our respective organizations. As HR professionals, we are now adapting to technological advancements. It is the reason why we now have HRS officers, Human Resource Information System officers, dedicated, to managing and to adapting HR processes, of course, to new technology in our workplaces. Agility and change management is another of those roles of the HR professional. We are now becoming very adept. If before we were just administrators who were pushing files or just writing memos, now the world of work and the reality on the ground now is beginning to teach us or has taught us that we must now be adept at managing change in our workplaces, and we must continue to foster organizational agility and growth in response to the disruptions that are happening in the markets and the spaces where we operate, in response to technological innovations, and of course, in response to the evolving work dynamics. How does the current landscape of HR in Nigeria look? Of course, HR practice in Nigeria is affected and is influenced, as in most places, of course, by a number of factors which include economic environment, the demographics of the workforce, that is the population, of the workforce. And in Nigeria, it is becoming quite evident, that there is some generational differences. We now have at least in the minimum, 4 generations in the workplace. If we argue that we do not have traditionalists, which would have made it, of course, 5 generations in the workplace, at least we have 4 generations made up of the baby boomers, the Generation X, the millennials, and the Gen Zs, which we now have in the workplace. Now, we must, therefore, as HR professionals, be mindful of the specific needs and nuances of each of these generations. So, in designing, of course, our recruitment strategies, our employee engagement initiatives, and our talent development initiatives, we must take this into cognizance. We must be very mindful and conscious of the regulatory framework to ensure that we are complying, of course, with labor laws, with industry regulations, and government policies. Now, oftentimes, the key areas to which we focus our attention are around employee contracts, that is the contracts of employment, around compensation and benefits, occupational health and safety, labor and industrial relations, and of course, compliance with local content requirements, in our spheres of operation. There's the talent market dynamics. The war for talent is real, and we all know this. For every good talent that you are trying to get, 1,001 other businesses, whether in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, are looking to also acquire those talents. So the Nigerian labor market right now is characterized by talent shortages in certain industries and certain specific skills, particularly, in emerging sectors like the fintech. So as HR professionals, we are facing serious challenges in attracting and retaining top talent, especially in such competitive fields as technology, as engineering, as healthcare, and in finance. We all are living witnesses to the fact that a number of people are jackpotting, and a lot of those who are jackpotting are people perhaps in the IT space, people in the healthcare space, medical doctors, nurses, and even people in finance. As HR specialists now, we must also adopt technology. Of course, adopting technological solutions, of course, is increasing in all businesses and in all government ministries and departments. Organizations, whether in the private or public sector, are now leveraging HRIS, like I said. They are now leveraging ATS, the applicant tracking systems, payroll softwares of all kinds, and of course, performance management tools to streamline their HR processes, to improve data management, and of course, to enhance employee experience and employee engagement. Of course, there is diversity and inclusion, which we have spoken about earlier on, and this is gaining prominence in the world of work. This is driven, of course, by the need to promote fairness, equality, equity, and fair representation in the workplace for all gender, and for all demographics, and of course, even for all ethnic groups and for all races. So as HR professionals, we now must implement DEI initiatives in our workplaces and our organizations to foster inclusive cultures, address biases, whether unconscious biases or even real biases that we know, and ensure, of course, equal opportunities for all employees. Remote work and digital transformation we've spoken about. What COVID-19, what the pandemic, of course, did to the world of work is to accelerate the adoption of remote work and the flexible work arrangements, and of course, digital transformation initiatives in Nigeria, and in fact, the world over. So we now do a lot of virtual recruitment. I cannot remember the last time in my organization when we had a physical recruitment exercise. Recruitment from 2020 to 2021, when COVID came down on us, has been, of course, virtual. We now onboard people remotely, and we allow flexible work arrangements to address the challenges of people commuting to work daily, coming late because, of course, if you work in places like Kaduna, like Lagos, like Port Harcourt, like Kano, where you have heavy traffic, commuting daily may not be too convenient. You spend a lot of time in traffic, and it's so bad that you cannot do any work, while you are on the road commuting. So people are now adopting, of course, flexible work arrangements to allow for people to work from home, to work for the comfort of them, rather than being on site always. Now, this is done, of course, whilst, of course, also trying to address the challenges that are related to internet connectivity, cybersecurity, data protection, and of course, work-life balance. Then we have skills development and training. Like I said before, we must continue to train the workforce so that they can learn, they unlearn, and of course, they relearn. Employee wellness and well-being is gaining importance in the HR landscape, and of course, in the world of work now, because organizations now recognize the impact of physical, mental, and emotional health on productivity and engagement. It is therefore the reason why organizations, are now implementing wellness programs and mental health initiatives. People now bring in mental health experts to talk to employees, and in doing this, try to help them cope, with the stress of work, the stress of life, and the mental health challenges that they are going. Some businesses, of course, have crèches, such that nursing mothers, of course, can bring their babies to the crèche and not stay at work and be worried about what may be happening to their babies at home. Businesses are now building gym facilities in their work to make it possible for people who want to, in between work or even right after work, of course, go to the gym to do their regular thing. Then professionalization of the HR. There's a growing emphasis on professional development and certification among HR practitioners in Nigeria. I'm sure we all know that in recent time, a little over a month ago, the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation issued a circular advising, of course, and making it mandatory now for people from grade level 12 and above, of course, to get HR certification before they will they can get promoted to the next grade level. And this is going to permeate both the Federal Civil Service and its agencies, and of course, all the states across the 36 states in Nigeria. So professional HR associations such as ours, the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, CIPM, offer certification programs, training workshops, and networking opportunities to enhance HR competencies and, of course, promote ethical standards among practitioners. Now, what are the emerging trends, of course, shaping tomorrow's HR? I have spoken about remote work and flexible work arrangement. And of course, the adoption of remote work and flexible work arrangement, like I said earlier on, was accelerated, of course, by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, it is not that there were no businesses that had flexible work arrangements before. There are quite a number of businesses, that had this flexible work arrangement. But when COVID came, businesses that hitherto thought that they will never have a situation where their employees will work from home, either completely or at least have a hybrid work arrangement, then saw themselves, of course, shutting down for 2 months or 3 months during COVID, and then having their employees work from home. The story is that quite a number of businesses also made humongous profits during this period, such that at the end of the day, some did not see the need for them to even go back to their offices. And then if they were occupying 4 3-floor office spaces before, they hired them out to other people to use, kept a floor for themselves, and then have their staff rotate when they come into the office or appear in the office to do some work. But in most times and in most cases, they are working from home. Now, we've also spoken about HR technology as one of the emerging trends, which is shaping, of course, the HR of tomorrow and even the HR of today. So with HR technology adoption being on the rise in Nigeria, organizations, of course, are leveraging HRS, like I said. We are now applying the applicant tracking systems. There are lots of payroll software that are being used. And of course, we are now using AI-driven tools, even for our recruitment, for our employee engagements, for our performance management, and of course, for doing workforce analytics. I'm sure everyone on this call now knows that there are chatbots, either it is ChatGPT or it is Nova, which you can engage, of course, to get whatever kind of information or data that you have. Of course, the warning is always that do not just rely completely on what you are getting from Nova or from any of the chatbots. You must analyze what you get from there. You must also be sure that what you are getting, is quite, of course, suits the purpose for which you are getting it, meets your requirement, or you can add some additional information or data to this. Now, businesses, of course, are driving their decision-making using data. In times past, for us in HR, what we were used to doing, of course, were just writing memos, providing information around administration. But business leaders, of course, require more now. So even as HR professionals and strategic HR business partners, the advice or the opinions that we render or the suggestions and recommendations that we make now are data-driven. And they are data-driven because we must show, for example, for a new business that is embarking on a project, you must show why that business needs to hire new people. And if they hire new people, what will be the return on the investment in hiring people for the business. So whatever decision that we make or we recommend as HR practitioners now must be such that will impact the bottom line, the P&L, the profit and loss of the business or the balance sheet of the business. When business leaders see that, then they take us serious. And it's the reason they're taking us serious as HR professionals now. They no longer see us as administrators, they now see us as strategic business partners, because we tell them the number of people they require to do what, the talent that is required to do this, and what this talent, of course, will eventually translate to for the business. I've spoken about diversity and inclusion in the workplace. The next, of course, will be skills development and lifelong learning. That as professionals now, we focus more on skill development, trying to acquire new skills where we do not have. We focus on lifelong learning initiatives to address whatever skills gaps employees have, so that we can enhance employee capabilities and, of course, foster career advancement. And all of this, of course, is done through some technical skills training, soft skills training, leadership development, and digital literacy, mentioned but a few. I've spoken about employee well-being and mental health. There's agile and remote recruitment, which I've spoken about. We now use the ATS to do recruitments, to hire top talent. We do virtual interviews. We do online assessments. We now onboard people virtually. They do not have to come on site for them to. So the key word now, of course, is being strategic HR business partners. So HR officers and HR professionals are now transitioning, of course, from being traditional administrative officers, of course, to becoming strategic business partners. We are now aligning HR strategies with organizational objectives. Like I said, we are the ones who now drive organizational change. And of course, we contribute to overall business success through proactive collaboration with business leaders. In all of this, what is most important, of course, is engendering in the workplace ethical leadership and corporate social responsibility. So for us in HR, there's a growing emphasis on ethical leadership. The values of integrity, the values of honesty, the values, of diversity, equity, and inclusiveness, are values around ensuring, of course, that businesses conduct themselves ethically, and that as HR professionals, we ensure that business leaders and the business, of course, also conduct their businesses ethically, that we ensure that diversity remains our watchword in order, of course, for these businesses to be sustainable. Then the last, of course, being adaptability and change management. That is ensuring that when you have disruptions, either in the market or in the business, we are there to ensure that these disruptions do not negatively impact either our organization or the businesses in which we work. So we help the leadership, we help management, of course, to navigate uncertainty, and we are, agents for organizational transformation. What are the future skills that HR professionals must have? The first, of course, is data analytics and interpretation. We need to be proficient in data analysis so that we can make informed decisions around the kind of talent that we acquire for the businesses that we work for, workforce planning, determining the exact number, of workers or employees that a business will require to man the business. We must manage the performance of the employees through constant evaluation and, of course, deploying data analysis and interpretation to employee engagement. Now, then you have digital literacy and HR technology. I have spoken about this. You have strategic thinking and business acumen. That as professionals now, we must possess strategic thinking skills and a very deep understanding of the objectives of the businesses or the organizations we work for, so that we can align whatever HR strategies that we are coming up with the organizational goals. So we must be able to anticipate, for example, the future workforce requirements of the organization. We must identify places where we can get this workforce, just as we must also identify opportunities for growth and drive organizational change through proactive collaboration with business leaders. I've spoken about adaptability and, of course, change management. We must also, of course, have cross-cultural competence and diversity management skills. Cross-cultural competence, of course, in managing the diversity in the business. So we must be able to foster inclusive workplace cultures. We must address unconscious biases and promote diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in the workplaces to ensure equal opportunities for all. Now, as HR professionals, we must have very good EQ, or EI as it is called, emotional intelligence and relationship building skills. We must be those HR professionals who are able not
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to believe that we are learning one or two things. Knowledge is being added to our knowledge bank thus far. While waiting for our facilitator to connect back, I want to quickly make the following announcement. Number one, if you are participating in this webinar and you are yet to register for it, therefore means that you are not going to get your certificate at the end of the day. Check the chat box. The link to register is being posted. All you need to click on the link, fill your details as specified, the way you want your details to appear on your certificate. Also, make sure that your email is working. Once this is done, then be rest assured that you are going to get your
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Agari. Yeah, welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much. My very sincere apologies. That was the technology. The network took me out. All right, so I apologize. So as I was saying, part of the future skills, of course, that we require as HR professionals will include communication and influence, and that we must be able to engage stakeholders, of course, to drive change in our workplaces. Of course, we must continuously learn and also encourage people to learn and to develop themselves. We must embrace lifelong learning and professional development so we can stay, of course, updated with emerging trends, both in HR practice, and with best practices, international best practices, and of course, regulatory changes in the HR field. So we must at all times seek opportunities for enhancement of knowledge, for networking, and of course, for sharing knowledge, just as we're doing now, to remain competitive in the role. Now, the transformation of the administrative officers or the traditional HR professionals that we have before to becoming or being HR business partners is one that, of course, is now completely reshaping the HR landscape, particularly in Nigeria. So people are moved or are moving from the administrative function to becoming strategic partners aligned with organizational objectives, even in the public service. This is happening now. This has happened a long time ago and a long while ago, of course, in the private sector. But even in the public service, we're beginning to see this happen now. And the intention, of course, is to ensure that HR business partners, of course, or HR professionals now become completely aligned, to the strategic objectives and strategic goals and priorities of the business. To collaborate, closely with the business leaders so that these objectives are achieved. If there are challenges, they deal with them. If there are opportunities, they take them. And of course, they develop HR initiatives and strategies that support these objectives. Of course, the next is consultative approach. As HR business partners now, we are now trusted advisors, and consultants to business leaders, like I said. In times past, we thought we didn't have a seat at the table. We then gradually grew, into having a seat at the table. We became members of the C-suite. Is the reason why you now have group chief HR officers. When you have group chief finance officers back then, the head of HR was looked at as someone who should not be at that level. Eventually, we became group chief HR officers. We became HR directors. And now business leaders, see us as experts, in our respective fields, in our own fields, who now provide guidance on HR matters. We now offer insights and recommendations and strategic solutions to address challenges around people issues, around the workforce, and of course, optimizing and driving, of course, organizational performance. We are change agents, like I said. We are change managers, such that in a dynamic business environment, and even in the workplace, even in the public service, as HR business partners now, as strategic HR business partners in Nigeria, we are now in the crucial role of leading change management initiatives, whether in the public service or in the private sector. HR professionals now facilitate organizational change, organizational communication, change initiatives, which support, of course, employees through transitioning, and of course, into successful implementation and adoption of changes in the workplace. We are talent managers. We are responsible not only for attracting good talent or for acquiring good talent, we are also charged with and have the responsibility for retaining those talents in the workplaces, for ensuring that those talents perform optimally, and for developing and growing those talents. In doing this, what we now do is to build bench strengths in our respective functions, such that you do not have succession gaps. You look for critical talents, people in critical roles, and ensure that you do not have gaps should any of them, for one reason or the other, leave. So in trying to do this, we also address skills gaps. We develop strategies to ensure that we retain people. And part of what we do, of course, is ensure equitable pay, ensure that the work environment is suitable for employees, ensure work-life integration and work-life balance, and we also ensure that the talent, all the goals of the talent is aligned, of course, with the goals of the business, and the goals of the business to also takes cognizance of the goals of the talent. It's part of the retention strategies that as HR professionals, we're not putting in the workspace. Of course, I've spoken earlier on about data-driven decision making and the fact that now we use data analytics to support whatever recommendations we make for management. So as we used to do it before, in those days that we write very long and lengthy memos, we no longer do that anymore. Now, our recommendations are data-driven. Our recommendations, our opinions, which we give, the decisions that we now take, are now supported, of course, by data, such that it is easy for business leaders to understand what we are suggesting or what we are recommending or what decisions we are taking. It's also easy for business leaders to also understand that what we are doing is also impacting, of course, the bottom line of the organizations which we work for. Now, employee relations and engagement. I have spoken about the need for constant engagement with employees in the workplace. So to do this, of course, and to address concerns that may come from employees, we facilitate communication between management and employees, and of course, we implement initiatives in the workplace which promotes a culture of trust between the business leaders, and a culture of collaboration and inclusivity between the business leaders and the employees. We are responsible for developing policies and for ensuring compliance, of course, with these policies, whether legal and regulatory policies or even policies and procedures in the workplace. I've spoken about our role as strategic talent acquisition managers, as performance managers, and of course, as ones who now provide leadership development for talent in the business so that they can assume leadership roles as they grow in the business. Next, we'll be talking about leveraging technology in the HR space. And I've spoken earlier on about HRS, the fact that in most organizations, we now implement the HRS platforms, which allow businesses and organizations in Nigeria to centralize employee data. It can either be SAP, it can be SuccessFactors, or any other of these, of course, ERPs that businesses use. We have automated administrative tasks, and we're improving data accuracy, such that HR professionals can efficiently manage employee records, talent attendance, manage leave, and generate reports to support decision making. I'd earlier spoken about recruitment and, of course, the applicant tracking system, which I called ATS. It's a software that everybody now uses, in the recruitment space, to attract great talent, to deploy, and to also deploy assessments, and to also track employees. Payroll softwares abound; they are everywhere, and there are so many of them that businesses are using now. So gone are those days when HR professionals as administrative heads will sit down with payroll officers, using Excel sheets, of course, to prepare payroll for payments at the end of. There are so many performance management tools now in the place, and most of all is the LMS, the learning management system. Now you can go to LinkedIn, for example, and find thousands and thousands of courses which you can take, certification courses, which as HR professionals, we can take, to upskill ourselves, to close those skills gaps that we think we need, to learn and to unlearn even some of the things that we do and continuously learn. So there are so many LMS or learning management systems that we have, and through which we can access various learning opportunities, which we can deploy for our own use and for the use of our businesses. And we can also track, employee training on these LMS modules. We can track courses, we can monitor progress, and we can also assess learning outcomes using these LMS modules. There are so many employees self-service portals now. When people join employment now, I'm not sure, perhaps maybe it still happens in government, but quite a number of businesses in the private sector now already, of course, will upload employee data, either cloud or some software. Now, there are so many self-service portals that employees can use now to update their records whenever they need to. When people get new certificates, they are able to access, a self-service portal, of course, to upload new certificates. When your marital status changes, or your personal details changes, people are able to access this self-service portal. So self-service portal, of course, enhances, the functionality of the individual self, such that because it also reduces administrative bottlenecks that you can have with trying to do things manually or physically. And of course, it empowers the employee to manage their HR transactions conveniently without necessarily having to go and sit, before an HR professional. There are so many mobile applications now that are being used by employees in Nigeria, through which, of course, you can apply for leave, you can access company policy, and you can do quite a number of things. I've spoken earlier on, of course, about this AI and what it's doing. I've spoken about the chatbots, which we have. And of course, I did mention the fact that in using the chatbots, we just need to be a little circumspect, such that we do not feed or we do not gather, very bad data. We must always analyze whatever data we also get from the chat box or leveraging artificial intelligence. There are virtual collaboration tools now, such as video conferencing, messaging, project management platforms, etc. And people do not have to physically meet to collaborate in the workspace. These are some of the technological innovations, of course, that are shaping the world of HR. There are also analytics and predictive tools and insights. HR analytics tools provide Nigerian organizations, of course, with insights into workforce trends, with employee engagement levels, turnover rates, attrition rates, and of course, talent gaps. So this helps, of course, when you have this data, organizations can identify areas where they need improvement. They can make data-driven decisions and, of course, be proactive in developing strategies to optimize workforce performance and retention. Now, what does the future of work hold for HR professionals and generally for people in the workspace? The future of work in Nigeria, of course, is increasingly being shaped now by the adoption of remote and flexible work arrangements. It is now driven, of course, by technological advancements, changing workforce preferences, and of course, by global events such as the COVID-19 pandemic, which we spoke about earlier on. So the first, of course, like I said, is remote work adoption. Nigerian organizations are now embracing remote work arrangements, which allows employees to work from home or other remote locations without necessarily being on site. Now, this shift, is facilitated by advancements in technology such as high-speed internet connectivity, collaboration tools, and cloud-based platforms, enabling employees to perform their duties effectively outside traditional office settings. Now, if it were before, to probably speak to you today, we probably would have had to go and get a very large hall somewhere in Kaduna. I would have to fly from Lagos into Kaduna. Quite a number of people who are on this call from all over the world, would have had to find a way, to try and make it to the venue of where we probably will have in this call. As I can see, we have about 705 people on this call right now. And people have joined this meeting and this knowledge sharing session from all over the world. It was impossible to do this before, but of course, the technology is now making it easy for us all to do it. With a click of the button on your phone, you can access whatever you want to access, and you can also join meetings, join knowledge sharing sessions. Of course, businesses are now developing, of course, flexible work policies, which allows employees to choose when and where they want to work based on their individual needs and preferences. These days, when we conduct interviews, people now ask us directly, what's your work culture like? Is it hybrid? Is it full-time on-site work? Or is it full-time work from home? People want to know before they join businesses and they join organizations. So flexible work arrangements, which include flexible hours, compressed work weeks, job sharing, and part-time or freelance arrangements, providing employees, of course, with greater autonomy and with work-life balance and work-life integration. Now, the impact of COVID-19, like I said earlier on, accelerated the adoption of remote and flexible work practices in Nigeria. Organizations implemented remote work policies to ensure business continuity, to prioritize employee safety. Now, while the pandemic forced a sudden shift to remote work, many Nigerian companies have since recognized the benefits of remote work and are adopting hybrid work models that combine remote and in-office work. I spoke about this earlier, and I spoke about businesses that have gone out to rent out their office spaces to others because they've decided to work from home or at least have a hybrid work arrangement. Now, technology enablement. This is playing a crucial role in enabling remote and flexible work in Nigeria because organizations are investing in communication and collaboration tools such as video conferencing, instant messaging, project management platforms, and virtual private networks to facilitate seamless remote collaboration, communication, and productivity. I was speaking a few days ago at a place, and I was telling people that what my organization did when COVID came, for example, was to ensure that we had internet connectivity or MiFis for every of the telecommunication service providers that we have in Nigeria, such that it was impossible for you to then complain about not being able to connect, to do your work, or you are not being able to connect to join meetings, because it is expected, or it was expected then, that at least one of the telecoms providers will certainly be working. You would have your MiFi or your Wi-Fi, of course, that is working, and you can connect from wherever you are. There's also workforce mobility. Remote and flexible work arrangements in Nigeria is enabling workforce mobility. So it is now allowing employees to work from anywhere with an internet connection. This has the potential to attract talent from diverse geographical locations, reduce commute times, and mitigate traffic congestion in urban centers. Earlier on, I spoke about commuting, from home to work. And I made the example of cities like Lagos, like Port Harcourt, like Kano, like Abuja, like Kaduna, where you have heavy presence of traffic. So businesses are looking at this and saying, look, can we allow our employees to work from home rather than spending hours, in the traffic, hours for which, of course, they cannot be productive, for the business. Now, the other thing around workforce mobility, again, is the fact that, look, it is also possible now to attract talent from everywhere. We now know that with the gig economy, people can work from anywhere for businesses, and people are now doing projects. A good number of Gen Zs and millennials now will tell you that they are no longer interested in the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 4 work. They want to do projects so that they agree, I'm going to work for you for about 6 months. This will be the hours, of work, and I will do this work in my own space. People are doing it in Nigeria. They are doing it for businesses overseas in Canada, in the UK, in US, in Brazil, in Singapore. We now also have people from overseas hired by Nigerian businesses living in Australia, but working for Nigerian businesses here remotely. Now, next, of course, is challenges and opportunities. Now, while remote and flexible work offer numerous benefits, they also present challenges for Nigerian organizations. Some of these challenges may include managing remote teams. How do you manage people who are not on site? I oftentimes will make the example that I did during COVID, when, of course, the lockdown was being partially lifted. And we had teams in my organization back then that were working remotely permanently. And you call somebody up, to try to check on them or to try to get some information. And he's telling you that, oh, right, I'm right there, working on my desk, but you could hear noises from the background, which probably will suggest that the person is either somewhere in Onibo Market in Lagos or in Contemporary in Kano, or in any of the markets, of course, that around. So these are some of the challenges that you are managing a remote team, and also ensuring cohesion with the team so that they work together and they do not work at cross purposes. And also, of course, being able to maintain the culture of the work environment, ensuring data security and privacy, and so many other challenges like this. You have policy and regulatory considerations, because we need to consider policy and regulatory implications when implementing remote and flexible work arrangements. This may include compliance with labor laws, compliance with tax regulations, with data protection laws, and of course with occupational health and safety standards. We have spoken about skills development and remote training, because remote works, of course, as it is becoming prevalent in Nigeria now, organizations must continue to invest in skill development and, of course, remote training programs to ensure employees have the necessary skills and capabilities to thrive in a remote work environment. Now, these trainings, of course, may include digital literacy, remote collaboration, time management, and, of course, self-motivation. Now, what are the ethical considerations, that as HR professionals, we must be very conversant with, and we must ensure, that, of course, we keep followed. Fair treatment and equal opportunities, transparency and accountability, confidentiality and data privacy. We must ensure that our personal interest does not conflict, of course, with organizational interest. And in recruitment, we must ensure that we engender ethical recruitment practices in recruitment. Now, we must also foster ethical leadership, like I said, in decision-making. We must offer protection to whistleblowers. People who report on ethical conduct and unethical behaviors should have the protection of our organizations. We must comply with laws and regulations, and we must also ensure ethical use of technology. And like we said earlier, we must encourage continuous learning and development amongst our HR professionals and even in our work spaces. Now, in conclusion, I would like, of course, to say that navigating the future of HR in a changing landscape, of course, encapsulates the dynamic evolution of HR practices and the imperative for HR professionals to anticipate and adapt to future trends and challenges. Now, when we embrace innovation, we also try to foster strategic partnerships. And in doing this, of course, we champion ethical practices, such that as HR professionals, we can then position ourselves as catalysts for organizational success, and we will continue to remain the drivers of positive change. Now, as we navigate the complexities of the modern workforce and embrace technological advancements, we as HR professionals must continue to prioritize the human element, promoting inclusivity, fairness, and employee well-being. I'm always quick to tell people, that once you remove the human from human resource management, then we have no business, of course, managing people. And that's why HR is all about empathy. HR is about compassion. Now, by staying agile, proactive, and committed to lifelong learning, HR professionals can create workplaces that thrive, that thrive, of course, in an ever-changing landscape. We must shape the future of work. We must empower employees to reach their full potential, such that we create workplaces, of course, that thrive in an ever-challenging landscape. In essence, tomorrow's HR professionals are those who must embody the ethos of continuous improvement, resilience, and of course, forward-thinking leadership. Such leadership and such resilience and continuous improvement that will define, of course, the future of HR in Nigeria and, of course, in the world. So I ask you all to join me and other HR professionals to embark on this journey with optimism, with determination, and a shared commitment to building a brighter future for organizations, employees, and society as a whole. Earlier on, when Mr. Ogbuyi was introducing me, he did mention, of course, that I'm aspiring to run for the office of President of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. We're in the middle of our campaigns now. And what we want to do, of course, the reason we're aspiring for this office is because we see the need for us to bring our institute, to bring HR professionalism to the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, to encourage our youth population to see the HR profession as one where they can grow, where they can learn, where they can thrive. That HR is no longer those administrative jobs that we used to have, that it's an exciting career, one that people like us have stayed on for over 35 years now, and one that we see a lot of Gen Zs and millennials, of course, also coming in, honing their skills, becoming certified, and becoming specialists in various areas. Now, at CIPM, what we do, of course, is to help people to hone their skills, to help people to get certified to become professionals in various fields, of HR, across the HR value chain, from organizational development to talent acquisition, to talent management, to learning and development, to compensation and benefits, to employee engagement, to employee relations and industrial relations. So I'm aspiring to lead this institute, to build an inclusive institute, to, of course, build on the achievements of past leaders, of the institute through strategic alliances, with the government, with government agencies, with institutes, like ours, so that we can bring value to our people. We're looking at optimizing, of course, technology, leveraging technology to bring learning close to our members and, of course, to our people. We are looking at the opportunity, of course, to reskill those who work for us, in our secretariat, those who work for us in our branches, as branch ESCO, and of course, everyone who is interested in working in the HR space. It is the reason, of course, where we are aspiring for leadership of our institute. My name once again is Ahmed Ladam Gobir. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you all. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. That to appreciate you for giving out that which you represent, the knowledge, the hub of knowledge that you represent, especially for your time and for breaking this at this level for us. We'd like to let you know that this program is being recorded. Make it available, the recorded version, and of course the material co-host has announced on the link. Register and you have access to the material. Alaja God, incoming president. We'll give room for a few questions. I hope quite a number of hands. I'm seeing quite. There is one particular question I will. It may interest that you are a lawyer. As a lawyer, not at the charge and bill level, the Supreme Court, and in HR profession, who are also at the point of their background, their profession, having interest in HR. Share in 2-3 minutes this migration, finding their feet in the profession of HR, even though I know a number of, but some may just want to know, it may interest them to know that we have a lawyer's.
Thank you very much. Even though you were breaking a bit,
Okay.
but I think I did get an idea of the question. And my response has always been that, incidentally, HR is the profession where we have people of very diverse background. I am a lawyer in HR. The head of compensation and benefits, which is a specialist function in HR, in the organization for which I work, is a chartered accountant, is a chartered tax auditor, but he's working in HR, in compensation and benefits. The head of tax in the organization for which I work started off as a lawyer before she went on to take, to get certified as an ICANN certified accountant, and then also got certification in tax matters. Now, what I'm trying to say is that it's not even in HR alone. People, and that's why I spoke about having cross-functional knowledge. What cross-functional knowledge does for you is that it provides you the opportunity to migrate from one discipline to another, or from one role, to another. Now, the only way to do this is to open your mind to opportunities to learn, to develop yourself, and to grow, and to also get the appropriate certification. I tell people that perhaps the easiest way to become an HR professional is go and get an HR certification, because in getting an HR certification, there will be some learning involved. So even if you do not have the practical experience, at least you are taught something, you understand it. And when you then apply for roles in HR and you get it, you can use part of the knowledge that you have acquired from the learning, and of course, being coached by somebody or being mentored by somebody, you can then, even if you cannot hit the ground running, but at least your hand holding will not be for a very long period as it will be for someone who does not have any form of certification and also has not had any form of experience. So to become an HR professional or to transition into one, please go get certified. In getting those certification, of course, you will have some learnings which will remain with you forever. You can either be one who has to write, you can get certification through the exam route, or if you're already working in the HR space and you do not have the certification or you have the experience, for us in CIPM, we also admit people into our certification programs through what we call the practitioner's route. So depending on your years of experience, you can either come in as an associate, the grade of an associate, or you come in as a full member. If you are already, for example, say at the directorial level, if you work in government or something like that. So the easiest way to transition, of course, is go get certified. That would be my advice. And that's what we all did for us to become the HR professionals that we are today. I don't know if I've answered that question, Mr. Nubi.
Answered absolutely, sir. It has been answered absolutely. I would like all our participants this afternoon, particularly, just like our facilitator has mentioned, we have which you can be a member. He has mentioned examination route. We have that is, if you are already in the business of HR. We have the executive route, also an academic route, and military categories of people. And you can find details, take these details, our website, www.cipm. I take it again, www.org. The benefit is abound when you become a member of CIPM. You have excellent networking opportunities. You have professional development opportunities. You have strong and internationally regular update of HR. Our participants this afternoon to know that we have branches in the UK and in Canada. And of great people for you to be part of our great. We would like to take maybe Mr. Gary, if you can hear me, and take a few questions. Question, if you still have Ms. Nneka Nwauba. Let's take Nneka. Nwauba. Can't Nneka Nwauba. Okay. Samuel. Samuel.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me, sir?
Hey, you go ahead.
Okay, sir.
Your name
okay,
and where you are.
I'm calling from Lagos. Thank you very much, sir, for the enlightenment. You know, I wish once every month or twice every month, let's have this kind of section. I will cherish it more because I have been in the HR profession for almost 8 years now, and we were encouraged to get certifications. But most of the some of the certifications we got from some HR bodies here in Lagos, when you see openings and they use them to apply, they only emphasize on CIPM. So my question is, why only CIPM and the other bodies are not listed? Meanwhile, those bodies assured us that they were registered and recognized by institutions and organizations. So why only CIPM? That's my first question. Then the next thing I wanted to talk is the availability of the materials, because at some point the voice was breaking, so that we can get the materials, and although you have cleared air on that one, that it will be posted through a link. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We need the material because there was a time the network was actually bad, so we did not get clearly the lecture. So we need the material. Yes, sir.
Mommy,
thank you very much.
Mommy, teacher just making noise, right?
Okay. The material will be made available. The material via your email that has been provided, and you can be rest assured. Okay. First answer, unfortunately, you didn't mention our participant that called from Lagos. We are in our introduction that CIPM is the apex regulatory body. CIPM is a precisely of Act 58. This is of the federal empowered by law to Nigeria, determining the standard all matters or professionalism in the HR personnel management in Nigeria. The requesting for CIPM is recognize the statutory position of you must certification as an HR practitioner certification from Nigeria. It's a mandate given to the institute right from 1960. This just like our facilitator has said this afternoon, and you'll be appropriately advised to do. And of course, by Alausa, just opposite the our secretary, and you can walk in and make more inquiries. And of course, you'll be adequately attended. We'd like to speak to Isa. Can you please unmute
Good
yourself?
afternoon. Okay, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay, my name is Adeyemi Ajayi, a fellow of CIPM and an elected council member of the institute. So great to be here this afternoon. As mentioned by the branch chairman, and his line was breaking a little while I was providing answers to that question as to why is it that's only CIPM. CIPM is the only recognized body for the regulation and setting of standard for anybody to practice human resource management in Nigeria. And the act that chartered the Institute, Act 58, which chartered the Institute, makes it exclusive. The Institute has both the powers to regulate and also to set standard for anyone that resource management in Nigeria. And because of this, no other institute is empowered by law to do so. That's the reason why if you carry any other certificate from any other unrecognized, unregistered, institutes to an organization, definitely they will not recognize it because they know that there are legal implications for that. So that is the one reason why you need to be registered with CIPM if you want to practice human resource in Nigeria. And just like doctors do and lawyers do in their profession, apart from you being a member, you are also expected to also have a practice license, the human resource practice license, to show that you have been licensed to practice human resource management in Nigeria. Very soon, the Institute will start going round to enforce the act by finding out people who are practicing human resource management in Nigeria without a license. So before that time comes, it is better, right now that the Institute is doing advocacy, it is better for anyone to come in now, get registered with the Institute so that you can both get your license and you also have your professional certification during practice. More especially now that the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation has issued circular for anyone that is practicing human resource and those that are on their Okay, sorry, I was muted. So that is the more reason why you need to join right now before things becomes quite tight. Because by the time enforcement starts, because CIPM, we are currently setting up the tribunal, because the act also enables the institute to set up the tribunal, in partnership with the Ministry of Labor and Establishment, to be able to try people who are practicing as quacks, and even for members who also err against the ethics and the code of conduct of the institute. So these are the reasons why you need to join CIPM if you must practice HR in Nigeria. I hope that helps. What does it take to practice HR in Nigeria? What it takes for you to join CIPM? like the chairman has mentioned earlier on, there are different routes. So I don't have to repeat all those routes. What I will say is you can go to the website of the institute to read about the various routes through which you can become a member. I will take the website slowly because I know a lot of us were typing that we couldn't hear the chairman very well earlier on. The website is www.cipmnigeria.org. I'll take that slowly again. www.cipmnigeria.org. Once you get onto the website, just click on membership. You'll be able to find out if you're a student, you don't have up to 7 years of work experience. You need to come in through the examination route. That is, you write the examination. And depending on your discipline, whether you are the social sciences or the pure sciences or the arts, that will also determine the stage of exam that you're going to write. Start from whether it's going to be from intermediate 1, intermediate 2, P1 or P2. If you're already working and you already have at least 7 years experience in people management or people management related function, you will be able to come in through our practitioners route, the practitioners route, which you go through an assessment. Your CVs and credentials will be reviewed. You go through a mandatory training, and of course, if you are qualified, you will then be inducted as a member. And if you already have over 10 years experience, you're at the executive level and you have been practicing human resource or people management or leadership discipline, and you have up to 10 years and above experience, you can come in through our executive route. That will make you join and come in as a full member. We have 3 key membership routes: the associate level, the full membership level, and of course the fellowship level, which is the highest grade of institute. All of this information you can find on the CIPM website. Again, www.cipmnigeria, that is NIGERIA.org, not .com, is .org. www.cipmnigeria.org. Thank you very much. Over to you, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. Colleague in the house. Your detailed explanation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Our time is fast spent. We need to round up now. However, we will call on if our facilitator to give his final thought. This program on this webinar, and I will. This program is also in partnership with Laplage Metaverse, friend of the house, and we appreciate the collaboration to see this event as this. I would like to invite our facilitator, Malam, thought on this. Bring this program to a close. Malam Gubrisa, if
thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think there is nothing further to add to what ECM Adeyemi Ajayi FCIPM has said about how to get the CIPM certification. I think the information has been properly laid out there. Let me just quickly also respond. I did see your question and your message around what is being paid for those who are already in HR practice to get CIPM certification. Honestly, you will need to hear what people are paying to get certification from some other organizations, including even just to get upgrading. At my level, for example, I have been asked to pay ₦1 million to just to get recertified for a professional body that had belonged to a long time before now, and professional bodies that do not even have the authority that CIPM has, for example, to regulate the practice of HR, are charging rates that are killing. I mean, just to allow me to put it that way. So this certification is important. If it's important, it's something that you can work towards saving towards it. And I'm sure with time, we definitely will be able to deal with it. But that is not to say that what you have mentioned, of course, will not be passed on to the leadership, to see what consideration, of course, can be made. Having said that, I would like once again to just once more thank the organizers, Kaduna branch, my home branch, for giving us this platform to speak to so many people today. For those who are aspiring to join, you have heard, go to www.cipmnigeria.org, that's our website, and you will get all the details about how to join there. For those who are already CIPM members are on this call, if you are owing annual subscription, it will be nice, to go and pay. You are only a member of the institute if you pay your subscriptions. And I'm not talking about local subscriptions in your branches. I'm talking about subscription, due to the national body. Please do try and pay. It's the only way you can also participate in the institute's upcoming elections to vote, and as a voter, and to vote for candidates of your choice. I did say once again, my name is Ahmed Gobir, and I'm running for president of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. And I'm counting on all your support and asking that you please vote for us. Running alongside me is Adeola Adepegba, who is on this call for elected council member. Adeyemi Ajayi, who has just spoken with you, for elected council member. And I think I also see Chitima Obiejesi on the call, who is also running for vice president. Thank you all for having me once again, and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Of Kaduna State Branch, of course, our partner for Metaverse, we want to thank you for taking time out to important subject. And again, I want our for that insightful input. Also, men and women from the HQ who are part of this. Time will not allow us to this solidarity for standing with us. And we also like to announce that we are planning for the International HR. See you participating either tonight on behalf, and God bless. Just like we said, for this program, and who would love to have provided, so that thank you and God bless for everyone who had participated during this program. On behalf of the branch, God bless you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye. Everyone. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, the conference
So tired. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Workers Day.
Bye bye, you. That's good. Happy new month.
Bye.
New month.
Everybody,
Happy
everybody say bye.
Yes, we rock, rock.
Hello, I have a question.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Aduna, thank you, Laplage.
Happy
Thank
Workers'
you,
Day.
thank you, CIPM.
Bye, everyone.
Happy Workers' Day from Asaba Delta State. Hallelujah.
Happy Sunday, members. Well done.
Bye, everyone.
Wow.
I'm going to take off this now.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Dr. Taze.
It's over.
Thank
The meeting is over.
Wow.
Everyone should.
Bye, everyone from Sierra Leone. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone from Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Bye.
Yeah, I'm from Plateau State, Nigeria. Yeah.
Bye from Port
Everyone from
Harcourt.
Malaysia.
From Peter,
Bye
Sierra
Port
Leone. Bye,
Harcourt,
everyone.
Rivers State.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Happy International Workers' Day to everyone.
Happy New Month, everyone.
Is it Udo or Sumaila?
Bye to everyone.
I don't want. No problem, sir. I don't hear now.
I want to confirm if the meeting has ended because I have a flat battery in the process.
Yeah, the meeting has ended. People are just hanging around maybe to fill the attendance form or something.
I'm just trying to find out the same thing too.
Yeah, the meeting has officially ended. So you can just check the chat box and see any relevant information you can pick from there.
Okay.
Yes. At
Thank
least
you
you
so
can fill
much.
the Google form so that you can get the recording of the session.
Okay.
There's a Google
What
form in the chat box
membership
right
for
now.
CIPM?
Eh?
Okay. What about CIPM membership?
Okay. Just check the chat box. I'll send it here now.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Everything is there now. Both the the website and the Google form link. Both of them are there right now.
Okay. All right. Thank
If
you.
you open the chat box, you click on each of the links, you will find it there.
I've seen it.
Okay, good.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, is it this on the chat of this zone?
Yes. The website is www.ciipmnigeria.org, and then after that you will see the Google link form. When you fill it, you get the recording of this session emailed to the email that you put there. It will be emailed to you personally. So try to fill up the form so that you can get the recording as you have missed the live session.
Yes. Madam, you're welcome. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Madam, how are
Good,
you?
sir.
please don't be offended. If I'm filling the Google form, am I registering as a member or as what, sir? On the
It depends on what you are.
Mm.
If you are a fellow, you put a fellow. If you are a member, you put a member. If you are not a member, then you put associate. Yes.
How is mom? Okay, Bridget. Everyone is copying. Now doing what?
If you are none of the above, then you can leave it blank.
I'll connect you to that one. Medical aid. I'm on another platform. We just finished some course. We came for normally first day of the new month. We came in the wake up. So they came and done. They don't go home. You are welcome. Come around. That is right.
Hello, sir. Please, I need the assistance. First of all, I click membership, become a member. Now I'm seeing something like obtain transcript for immigrants, opportunity to participate in ready to market program. Please, sir, who said that? Where am I going? Because I can't read everything here now.
I'm coming. What did you say?
Okay, sir. I said that I'm trying to fill the form. Once I click on the become a member, I saw something like obtaining transcript for immigration, opportunity to participate in the ready to market program, higher earning potential and career prospect, a member job loss insurance, and others. So I'm asking, please, because I need the direction to fill the form, sir. I'm not a member. I want to be a member.
If you are not a member, you don't need to fill that area.
So how can I become a member? That is the issue.
By going to the website and getting more information from there. If you get to the website, all the requirements are stated there.
I'm already on the website. So that is why I'm trying to do, because I'm already on the website. So I'm trying to I saw something like a membership examination, so I'm confused. I don't know if I need to write exam.
Yes, you will need to write exam.
Okay. So I should go ahead and register for exam.
Yes, yes, you can go ahead and register for exam.
Okay.
There are different levels. If you are in the line of that area, you enter at a different level of exam. If you are a student, you enter at a different level of exam. If you are at the topmost managerial position, you enter at executive position.
Okay.
Yeah. If you are not even in the area at all, maybe you are in a totally different field, maybe like engineering, you also have a different point of entrance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please, good evening. Okay.
Yeah.
Please, good evening. Please, good evening.
I can hear you.
This Fesene from Ghana. I lost the
Okay.
link for the. I lost the links.
I
The
just
links
posted it on
were.
the chat box now. Go to the chat box, you will see them there.
I have checked there several times. I couldn't get it.
Are you just joining?
I joined and I was facing network problems, so I leave and come back again, but I couldn't find them back again. But first, it was there.
Okay. Go back to it again. I've posted it right now.
Okay.
Go back there. You go to the chat, you will see them there now.
Okay, the first link is for what? I think both of
It
them
is
are
for
Google
attendance.
this thing.
That one
Okay.
is for attendance.
Okay. Then I'll do that quickly.
Yes, please do. I've also
Thank
sent that
you.
one for the website. Both of them are there right now.
Okay.
Yeah.